Karrin Taylor Robson joins me now. She's hoping to secure the Republican nomination tonight for Arizona governor. My first question to you is, what is the most important issue facing Arizona Republicans right now?
The most important issue is the border. Our southern border is being overrun, and Arizona is on the front lines of what has become a 50-state border crisis because of the disastrous immigration policies of Joe Biden.
And what about the issues on the border will you fix that's different to how things are currently being done?
Well, I received the endorsement of the U.S. Border Patrol Council because they've seen my plan. I have a tough 6-point plan on my website, KarrinForArizona.com, and they know that it is a plan that can be implemented, and they know that I'm the candidate capable of implementing it, given my 30 years of track record in the private sector as a business executive, as a lawyer, and as a small business owner. So they have put their faith and trust in me, and they know I will do everything that a governor can do to secure the border and to protect the people and property of Arizona.
It's interesting you put border security at the top of your priority list when Arizona, like many other states now, have abortion laws which are in limbo after the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. How is that issue and what the state may do about it playing into your campaign?
Well, in addition to the border, I'll tell you what the people are talking about in Arizona. As I travel around the state, the most important issues to them beyond border security is inflation. And we have families that are having to decide if they're going to put food on the table or gas in their tank. I've even talked to people who, have trouble filling their gas tank up to go to work. So those are the real issues that are at play here in Arizona, and I believe across the country. More and more people are having buyer's remorse over Joe Biden in the White House. Regarding Roe v. Wade, I absolutely believe that the U.S. Supreme Court did the right thing, returning this issue to the states where it belongs. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg said that Roe v. Wade didn't resolve the issue. It only exacerbated it because you had 9 justices essentially taking a political question and putting it into a legal realm. It's a political question, and it is long overdue to come back to the states and let the people decide.
And what further action on abortion rights do you support?
Well, Arizona is a pro-life state. I'm pro-life. But everywhere I go and everybody I talk to, I say that we have to do as much for the woman as we do and care as much for women as we do about their unborn child. And I will lead and foster a culture of life, and we will take care of women. But right now, like I said earlier, the biggest issue facing us is inflation. It is touching everybody. Mother, father, workers, everybody, because the cost of everything is going up. I've had many people call me and complain about the cost of milk, the cost of eggs, scarcity of things. And so those issues are impacting everybody.
Another issue that riles people up is the previous presidential election, how it went down and what can be done about it. Your opponent, Kari Lake, the former local anchor, claimed in a campaign speech last week, quote, "We're already seeing some stealing going on," end quote. It's just the latest in a series of unfounded claims she's making about the previous presidential election. Are you concerned that undermining confidence in the electoral process could lead to more issues, as we saw in Georgia's special Senate election?
What Kari Lake is saying is it really disqualifies her to hold elected office. She is undermining the election before the votes are even counted. I started out this year at 0 in the polls. She was at 43. And my campaign has slowly and methodically risen in the polls. And just a few days ago, a national poll came out having me pulling ahead of her. And so she is really imploding right now. And so she is saying that she won't concede this race. And she's, trying to develop a narrative that if she loses, the only explanation can be fraud. And quite frankly, the voters of Arizona, they see a fraud. They know a fraud when they see one. With each passing day, they know that Kari Lake is an actress. She isn't who she says she is. And people are waking up to that. And that's why that is a big reason why my numbers have risen in the polls. And that's a big reason why I have all the momentum and why we're going to win this election.
To be fair, though, you have called the 2020 presidential election unfair. I'll give you a moment here to explain what you mean by that, because even after the recounts in your state, it was found that there was no untoward behavior. So how do you reassure voters that ballots are being counted lawfully?
Well, I do believe the election was unfair because it was not just the judges across this country that ushered in new rules and new laws in the weeks and months before the 2020 election. Add to that the suppression of news by the media, and I don't need to say anything other than Hunter Biden, and you know what I'm talking about, or big tech silencing conservative voices, or Mark Zuckerberg spending upwards of $500 million to increase voter turnout in heavily Democrat areas. All of those things together conspired to result in Arizona alone, 78% of our Republicans thought something was wrong with the election. But I have chosen to focus on 2022. I know my opponent, all she talks about is a stolen election in 2020, and I refuse to go there. I want to focus on 2022 because I want to keep Arizona and the Arizona governor's office in Republican hands, which allows us in 2024 to be in the best position possible to get rid of Joe Biden and his disastrous immigration policy and his disastrous economic policy.
And just to be clear, do you commit to abide by the results of this primary?
I have said on the record, yes.
Karrin Taylor Robson, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.